Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Empire Total War with the American Revolutionary mod. Last time around we sent the besieging British forces around Annapolis, Maryland away, and so we were able to make sure that we kept a hold of this. I'm not entirely sure why they sieged it. There's no fort there, and there was only the bare minimum of a garrison holding it up, so they could probably have easily just overrun it if they wanted to. Anyways, with that victory we were able to continue on and attack Williamsburg in Virginia and take control of that quite easy, as we were able to lay siege and then force the troop there to surrender. Another major move, I guess, is we started to march with George Washington to take out the Iroquois Nation. They hold 2 territories, and we're going to take the Niagara territory from them. We also moved Bennett Fox over to Newfoundland, so he should be able to assault Newfoundland and take that. British seem to be making quite a bit of money out of Newfoundland, so that will be a major blow to them. They actually make the same kind of money as they do in Quebec. With that said, let's go ahead and turn, because we have no more moves to make. So let's see what the enemy comes up with. Right, so a bit surprising. I wasn't expecting the force to actually be attacking us. The British have been very passive in their strategy against us, so they haven't really taken an really aggressive point at all anywhere. But it seems like we might be looking at our first defeat. The British outnumber us in everything. They have elite troops. They have 2 grenadier regiments, the 33rd and the Von Raul. They have British Line Infantry, and then they have the Royal American Regiments. They have cavalry. We have not any cavalry. And they have 2 cannons, so they have a 6-pounder and a 12-pounder, while we only have a 12-pounder. But they only marginally outnumber us in terms of actual manpower. But the thing is, when we have militia infantry, and this is garrison militia, so I don't think everyone in this unit fires. Plus also, compared to the other militia units that I usually recruit, these ones actually have really poor accuracy, where, oh, the 4th New York doesn't have 40 accuracy. That's pretty crap as well. Right. There's not much to say for it, more than this is actually going to be an interesting battle to try and win, because we're on even terms, or I guess not worse than even terms. The British are in favored, and this time I wouldn't say that this sort of force measurement is actually lying. Oftentimes it can be, because it sort of puts the AI in the favor when they're really not. But in this case I would say, mostly I think just because I don't have a general, to have that general morale boost go around the army means that we're probably gonna see our men rout pretty darn early on. Now we do have an okay morale for the 4th New York, but the militia and the cannon, that could be nasty. I could see the enemy focusing a barrage, a counter-artillery barrage, and just sending a cannon away right at the start. And that could force me to attack the British position, which would be, you know, at that point there would be no chance of victory. I think what's going to come down to victory is probably canister. If I can use canister in a good way, then I can win this battle. With all that pre-battle talk, let's see if we can actually win this one. And we're off. I have deployed my men accordingly. We've got the cannon in the center, where the 4th New York regiments on either side, and the militia in the center, hiding behind this stone wall as cover. The British are deploying out there, and we're all ready. Hopefully, yes, we took out a cannon. Good. Now we did have a town here with buildings that we could have garrisoned, but I think we wouldn't be able to put down the proper amount of firepower, and the British would just have ended up charging in the buildings, which would have definitely been going in the favor of the British regiments, as they have grenadiers, so that wasn't really an option. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the British force. So maybe I should look at my own force first. We haven't seen the 4th New York in action before. So here's the 4th New York. Kind of a silly hat he's got on. With it going from side to side. You can see those dragoons that go the other way. I think that kind of style of hat is a lot better if you're going to go with this sort of style, and that was actually what I thought I was looking at when I was looking at the unit there. That it was going to front to back rather than side to side. But there we have those. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the British, which field Royal Americans, German Grenadiers, and the 33rd Grenadiers. So right here we have the 33rd Grenadiers. Wonderful looking unit. Probably going to be really devastating on our men. Then we have the Royal Americans. 300 of them. And then next to them we have a normal British line infantry. And then beyond them we have the Von Raul German Grenadier Regiment. And beyond them we have the Queen's Dragoons. Interestingly enough, normally the AI holds their position when they have superiority in artillery. But in this case, they're actually advancing on us. Right now it looks like their artillery is targeting the militia. And they've already taken 70 men out of the unit. I wonder if it might not be better to have them actually sit behind the walls. I think this is the kind of militia that the two front ranks fire. I don't think they will do it well while they're behind the stone wall. Then it will only be the first rank. I hope this actually helps against the enemy cannon fire, and that it's not just we making a more compact target for their artillery to hit. I have been targeting their cavalry. I was hoping this one would be hidden, but clearly their camouflage didn't really work. I'm hoping these guys going for the cannon, so they'll get well and truly within range of our men, and we will open fire there. Should have switched to canister for this last bit. Form square. Right, hold fire. There's no point in firing right now. We've got, however, the British general is coming forward straight towards our position, which is not that great. If you could please turn the guns. Right, and tell them to fire at will. If it would please the regiment. I kind of want to move out of... Damn, that canister went absolutely nowhere. It went overhead of these guys. Okay, move out of square. Make line and fire at the enemy. Right, we're gonna have to shoot at the oncoming regiments. And I think we should probably move Apparently these guys are firing, but I can't see it. Oh crap, there's... The German grenadiers are charging. I want canister that way right now. Come on. We need to send those German grenadiers away. Even though we pushed canister... Nice. We actually managed to deter that charge. Right, sitting behind the wall, clearly you're not firing. While behind there. You know what? I'll keep the canister shot going that way because that's going to go right into the Queen's Rangers. The 33rd Grenadiers are coming up against our militia and the 4th New York up there. Right, the Von Rals quite quickly rallied and are back coming against us. I was about to say these canister shots are not that effective, but now they were, and I don't think we're going to see those guys coming again. We're going to turn it now, firing straight down the center towards the British infantry. The Von Rals have rallied, and they've rallied with the Royal Americans and that British Line Infantry Regiment, and they're going to charge us straight on. Which isn't going to go too well for us unless we're actually able to deliver this canister. Come on, fire if you please. Damn it, the entire militia unit has routed just before the sight of the oncoming British troops. We were able to fire our canister, but the militia just at the sight of the charging British troops. Right, we don't want to get this troop overrun, so damn, the British just split our army in two. The British Line Infantry did retreat. We're gonna have to retreat. Where? Hopefully these might rally if I retreat the 4th New York towards this wall instead. We've got this British cavalry unit riding about. I want to try and get all my men back together. Right, this militia garrison is back. Onto the wall. Let's see if we can't get this one through the forest and then combining with the others. So we can combine our strength. Steady tired. I mean, these guys, they didn't even face the bayonet charge and they ran. So I guess we can't hope for much for them. This is kind of how I saw the mod kind of going. That I would have a load of militia constantly running and the British would... I mean, this is pretty impressive by the AI to conduct such charges. Especially the Germans just running into canister and then deciding, you know what, we're gonna do that again. Those bloody Germans. Right, we're gonna shoot. I guess I kind of made a mistake there, and not in the kind of way that, as a sneak tactic, like Mel Gibson does. There's no French behind a hill. Wait, right. The militia once again runs before the center runs right before the enemy, before they even open fire. How I wish there were French hiding behind the hill. What are you doing? No one told you to reform. Let's see if you can actually... Maybe it's better to actually hide behind the wall. Maybe that will give us a little bit of an advantage. Or it might just force the enemy to charge. Since there's no one guarding the center, the Von Raul German Grenadiers... Damn, what kind of tactic was that? We haven't seen that before. They charged in, the entire rank fired first, and then... That was pretty epic. Okay, this one's about to get overrun. They are holding on kinda here. The Germans at this point are quite tired and they've lost a lot of manpower, but I mean... Oh, the garrison militia has now rallied. Right, put yourself behind the cover of these fences. We're gonna pull back. Once we're in position, we're gonna see if we can pull back this one. Or that might rout all of them, because now these guys are wavering. For some reason that I'm not entirely sure why. The guys behind the wall are still firing. So they're still putting up quite a good fight. But I mean, they're fighting German Grenadiers. Right, our troops are within position. Alright, let's see if we can drag these guys back. Pretty sure the militia broke again, and now the entire army broke. Because we have nowhere else to go. And damn. The problem here is, of course, that we were holding up within the Iroquois territory main capital, meaning that all these units will be completely lost to the man, to the very last man. So that is, the British were able to turn this one around, but I'm not entirely sure if this is what they say, too little too late, as the British have already suffered so many defeats and lost so much territory to us. But the British could possibly be turning this around if they just have the manpower. And so our army was destroyed. I'm starting to notice that we're getting some crashes now in the campaign. Someone said there were going to be crashes for big battles. I have noticed crashes for battles and most everything. So you can get crashes for a little bit of all kinds of stuff. In this case, I was going through explaining what happened, what we're going to do and so forth, and then I brought this Native American unit across the border and I burnt this Weaver's cottage, and that was what apparently was too much for the mod, and it crashed. Anyways, let's go ahead and take stock of what's going on. So we've got George Washington now kind of sandwiched in between a rock and a hard place. Well, this place is not as hard, as they took quite a bit of damage as they took down those 4th New York and that 12-pounder. So unfortunately, I think the best option is to have Georgie Boy move back and secure his lines of supply. So you note that why did they get 12-inch garrison mortars? Well, you note that there's a lot less Von Raul than there actually was, and that was because of the crash. So I just auto-resolved it rather than playing it again. And apparently they localized all the casualties on the British army that the army took there entirely on the Von Rauls, it seems, and somehow on the cannons as well. We're gonna just hold that siege for now before we go ahead and try and attack there. So I just want to go through a little bit on what's going on the other areas. So I'm not gonna go through there. We're gonna, maybe if I, just before we go through with this battle, I might just go ahead. Or maybe, you know what, that's not even that necessary. Just pull back instead. I don't want to risk a crash. So what we... Oh no, you know what? Maybe I should do the Newfoundland. So, you know what? Let's keep this brief. Something that I noticed down here in the south. I was hoping to just steamroll everything down here. Not gonna happen. The Huron have turned up with a sizable force, stopping me from going there. So, I'm not entirely sure how I will deal with this. If I'll go directly and attack them, they could probably be bringing in the British's reinforcements at their current position. I'm not sure. So it might be well not to actually fight these guys, but instead to pull back north. I imagine the AI is going to continue its rather stupid attacks on Baltimore for some reason. So we might just pull back to Baltimore, hold there, and then once this army is replenished and also bringing in reinforcements coming from Philadelphia, then we can take on the Huron. So I think we're going to go ahead and march to Baltimore. Then the British Navy moved out of port and is settled over there. You can see there's small British forces all over, but no substantial threat anywhere. With that said, let's quickly go over here. I might go ahead and just be able to force the surrender of these guys. No, we're gonna have to fight this one. We're not gonna fight them today, though. We're gonna fight instead. We're gonna fight these guys again at George Washington. So we kind of keep the continuation. Otherwise, I don't think I will be able to fit 3 battles in one video. And it would be kind of strange to jump from this place over to another and then continue this place in another video. So let's go ahead and finish this with Washington and his Minutemen. Completely different battlefield when we're attacking rather than defending. So the British take us on outside of towns. I guess the last battle was somewhere over there. Let's quickly go over the deployment. I've got my 6-pounder here. We've got the Connecticut infantry right here, and the Colonial militia over here. Then it's the Minutemen all across the front line. We've got the Native Americans, the old Peanut Man himself, and the Moyland Dragoons over on the left. Right, let's see what we're facing. Those mortars might cause much damage on us. Oh, yeah, well, wait. The Minutemen can form square, so no problem there. Let's quickly gain ground towards the British. I think we're actually going to move up the militias as well. So far, oh, they are firing. I guess the mortars are not firing explosive rounds, which is very well for us. They're just firing round shot. We just broke down 2 of the mortars, and we hit quite a few of the Royal Americans. Oh, the British are attacking. Hold and fire at will. I did not notice the Queen's Rangers. And they're attacking the Native Americans, which cannot form square. Turn to face those guys. And I'll recall the Moyland Dragoons. We'll have to stop the entire sort of advance on the enemy. We'll hold on either side here and just open fire. Shoot Native American and British Dragoon alike. Queen's Rangers Dragoons was seen off the field. Looked like the Moyland Dragoons fire there. Like they were firing straight at the Native Americans. Right. Back into position, gentlemen. the idea I have is that we're gonna march up really close to the British. Oh, the Native Americans are back. Go to the edge of the forest and fire from there. The Moyland Dragoons will sit. You have kind of a little bit of dead ground that can hide in here on the flank of the British. My idea is kind of doing the Swedish tactic of we're gonna march up close to the British and then fire a volley straight in their face. You will attack that mortar and you will support over here. And then the Minutemen will march really close up to the British and fire into them. Right, the British general just got shot down by a cannonball. Oh, the Von Rals. They really like to charge, don't they? Yeah, there's only 23 of them and they're charging straight on into the Native Americans. Brave or foolish, call it what you will. I'm not entirely... Oh, they did actually succeed in making their way in among the Native Americans without actually losing a man due to them firing. It's kind of strange how the Native Americans don't... I mean, the entire unit continues as nothing, while the German Grenadier unit is going to town on them. And both units are actually kind of distressed by this. It looks like oh! God damn it! Look at the balls on Jerry. Jesus. So they lost 8 men in that charge, and I don't know how many Native Americans they killed. We had about 100 to start when we were here. Jesus Christ, what are these Germans made of? German Grenadiers are OP. Oh! I missed that. The Moyland Dragoons are taking on the remnants of the enemy general's bodyguard. Not that it mattered too much, because we absolutely trashed them with only 8 lost men secured by the Moyland Dragoons. Right, the Von Rals, one's coming up against a regiment of 300 men, firing on them. Then they decided to retreat back down. A round of applause, everyone, for the Von Ral German or Hessian Grenadier Regiment. Now the Minutemen are gonna go Swedish tactic on these guys. Just utterly obliterate them, hopefully. George Washington's plan is to go Charles the 12th on these guys. Gustav Adolphus. Right, as we were more or less unaffected by that British volley. Oh, they shot... I just zoomed in there, you could see that they just shot one of their own cannon crew. Right, fire at will. Taking some casualties, but not like what the British are gonna do once we open fire here. I thought I'd be able to get the British units to completely rout upon the first volley. But clearly that's not the case. The cannon crew over there ran. We're holding on. Oh! The drummer got killed. The Royal Americans now had enough. And the British are running. Go ahead and run them down. And in that way, George Washington was able to turn defeat into victory. However, it was quite costly for us, and we lost 2 regiments and a 12-pounder cannon. Not that it mattered that much, we make so much bloody money, so... Right, let's head back to the campaign map. And here we have the results of the battle. So the British forces now faced similar destruction to what our forces, so everyone down to the last man was killed. George Washington suffered roughly 300 casualties, while the enemy suffered 700. Highest killer, Moyland Dragoons, no surprise there. Artillery, a bit of a surprise. And then the veteran Minutemen did not actually do that well. They killed more than they lost. So overall their volleys were more effective than the British, but I was hoping that we would see them off in the first volley, which I was actually kind of surprised that they weren't were retreating after the first volley. They had lost their general. They didn't have many troops. They were battered since previous battles and so forth. But yeah, there we have it. So once again, the Iroquois territory is under our control. Yes. So with that, I mean, the status quo was achieved here. We moved back to Baltimore over here, so we might lose Virginia or Maryland. And next battle, or next video, we're gonna start off with Newfoundland, and then we're gonna see what we can do. Either if George Washington continues forward against these guys, or if he decides, you know what, it might be better, rather than to go at the very passive Iroquois nation, instead to head up to Upper Canada, where a lot of British forces are turning up. Butler's Rangers, First Foot Guard. Someone was asking for elite regiments. Thing is, I don't have that many elite regiments, and a lot of them are foreign. So, like the Spanish Marines, I think is an elite regiment. And also, when I tried to play Custom Battle, and I put it on, and I put myself as the United States, and I put it to, you can put it to either early period or late period. So you get different kinds of troops, and you get, in early period, only front rank fire. In the late one, you'll get all the kind of, you know, platoon fire and fire by rank and stuff like that. And I would say like 95% of the American army was entirely comprised of like French regiments or a few Spanish. Like there were more Spanish regiments than there were American one, which I find kind of hilarious. Anyways, with that said, we're going to end this video right here, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!